What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Lock and Cash podcast. We look a little bit different this week. We had some lighting problems, Bruce. We're trying to get that corrected. But do I have some? I hope I don't look like a ghost.
The lighting problem is I'm pale. That's the lighting problem. It's not the environment.
We spent like 15 minutes trying to get it right.
I spend all of my time inside working on this, and I don't go outside.
Makes sense.
So
checks out.
That's our lighting problem.
We have the same problem. So, but I think we look okay now. But maybe we'll tweak it a little bit for next week. But
we're brown and beige. We're very
get there.
wooded, right?
Yeah,
but
yeah. We'll put something here for you guys that are watching. You guys know we used to be in the old place.
There's a loose nail.
We used to be in the old place. Now we got the wood paneling. We're thinking. You guys let us know what you think in the comments. A neon sign with the logo, the Lock and Cash logo, neon. Just like blaring. So like when you're looking at this main desk cam, it's like you can't even see us. It's just like green.
And because
glow.
I'm basically translucent, I might be just green.
That might work out
the entire time.
Dope. All right.
Is that the Incredible Hulk?
Yeah, I know, right? Bruce Banner. It works out.
There we go. I just need to start doing some push-ups. We're going to be good to go.
So, dude, week 18 in the NFL. Where the hell did this season go? First,
it's almost over.
It's literally gone. It's like we blinked. Well, the first game of the year was Lions at Chiefs, remember?
Yeah.
Thursday Night Football.
And we were like
blinked, and now the season's over.
Like, if the Lions win this game, they are legit.
Yeah, exactly. Now they're like, what do they have? 11, 12 wins, clinched their division. Oh, my gosh. So here we are. Well, I mean, you got a lot of playoff implications this weekend. Tons of win and get in situations, which we actually talked about last time. How it's not always not always a good spot to bet on the teams that need to win to get in.
Yep.
But we do have some interesting things. We did fill out actually for this episode. We're just going to talk playoff matchups here today. We did fill out some what's the thing called again? Matchup predictor, playoff machine, NFL playoff machine scenarios. So why don't we run down all of the Week 18 games? I'll name the game. We'll say who we think is winning, and then we'll go on to the actual playoff matchups and just give, maybe we could even talk theoretical spreads, what you think the spread will be, and then who you think will come out on top, and then we'll just go with that way. So
100%. One thing that I want you to do before we get into this is refresh maybe our first-time listeners on the win and in. Let's not do a whole segment on it.
Sure.
Let's just give them a light overview in case they're tuning in for the first time.
Yes, thank you. That's a great point. So we talked about this last week, but basically, you don't want to overreact to the motivational angle that you're going to hear about a lot this weekend. Teams that need to win. Oh, they need to win to get in. They need to win. That's just stuff is priced in, and it leads to overinflated lines. Basically, teams, if you look at it over the last 20 years, teams that need to win to get into a playoff spot, whether that be wild card or division, any scenario where they just need a win, and they're playing a team that's mathematically completely eliminated, not in the hunt. So like looking at teams like the Titans this week, for example, the Panthers, these are teams that are completely out. They're just, those teams that need to win are just 40% ATS. I even think it's a little less, like 39.8 or something like that. But basically they're 40%. So betting the team that has nothing to play for is a 60% angle. And that's because teams don't, just because they have nothing to play for doesn't mean you want to lose.
No.
And if you're going out, you're like, I'm going to take you with me. I'm going to fuck up your season.
Right.
So.
And people have downs played bonuses, they have performance bonuses. Just because you're mathematically eliminated from the playoffs doesn't mean that you're mathematically eliminated from getting that bag.
Bingo, exactly.
Right?
That's exactly right. Yep.
A lot of people have a lot to play for in that week 18.
For sure. And that's like one of the things that a lot of we don't really do many player props, but I know a lot of prop bettors will attack props when those players have incentives attached.
Yeah.
To like receiving yards. But the problem with that is a lot of times those lines are inflated too because the incentives are baked in as well. But it doesn't mean the player's not going to chase them.
Right.
And that affects the game. So like incentives, it's almost counterintuitive. It's like, oh, I'm going to take his receiving prop because if he gets this many yards, but maybe that just helps his team. He might not get the prop,
right? But
it might help the team.
And then you look at stories like Rob Gronkowski, where he was like one touchdown off of a bonus for the year. Like Tom Brady audibled and schemed up a play to get him that.
Yep.
Right.
I remember that.
And then if you look at the flip side of that, you see, people like, Sean Payton, benching Russell Wilson for
messed up
for different reasons and trying to, maintain cap flexibility and stuff. So you never know which way it's going to go.
They did my man Russ dirty. That's all I'm going to say. They did him. He did not deserve that. He was having a great season.
Yeah.
He was playing really well.
I know.
They were in the playoff hunt. How do you bench your quarterback in the middle of a playoff race?
Gotta save that money.
I get it, but like, man, and they gave him a long-term deal. Good for him for saying no. I'm not renegotiating my deal,
Dude.
Screw you. What the hell?
Yo,
And we cashed a lot on the Broncos, so I'm a little biased.
Yeah.
That was like our team for a little bit for like half the season.
I mean, listen, imagine you went into your office and you were having like a great year.
Yeah.
You know? You're in your office, you're a
You're crushing it.
marketing analyst.
Yeah, or sales or something.
Sales.
Yeah, yeah.
And they come in, they're like, you've been doing a great job. I'm gonna need you
Slow it down.
to slow down. I'm gonna need you to take less money.
Yeah.
I feel
Yeah, exactly, right? Like, what the hell? Insane. It's like the only profession where that happens. But
yeah.
anyway, poor Broncos. So, all right, let's start with so we got 2 Saturday games this week. Remember, I always talk about those Saturday games, man. They're weird. I'm telling you, weird things always happen. Steelers at Ravens. Ravens have nothing to play for, sitting everybody. You got the Steelers?
I do.
I got the Steelers too. They're -4, but I can see that being a field goal win.
Yeah.
I think the spread's maybe a little bit tricky. But
I mean, Mason Rudolph,
he's been playing well.
you've been playing well, but I think we have enough sample size of Mason Rudolph.
Yeah.
I mean, we have enough sample size of all those guys
Yeah.
to say like the wheels are going to come off at some point.
Exactly. And this is finally like a really good defense that he's playing
Yeah.
against.
How many of those starters are going to be playing?
Yeah.
I don't know, but
And by the way, Tyler Huntley ain't no slouch.
he's not.
And he's got motivation to knock them out. Wouldn't you want to knock them out? It's your division rival. So Texans at Colts. It's a pick. Who you got?
You know.
You got the Texans.
I
You
got
got
the
Stroud.
Texans.
I got the Colts. So we differ on that one. All right.
Yeah, I don't think that, for all the love I've give Gardner Minshew and
Yeah.
and how I wanted him on the Jets and all that.
Yep.
This is a big spot.
It is huge. I think the home field's going to be important. Their defense, the Indy defense, is leaky. It's not great.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna just, the line. Here's other things too. The line flipped. It was Colts -1. Now it's Texans -1. I hate chasing the steam. Even though it's not much value because you're just going across zero.
Right.
But it's like something always sits wrong with me if I'm just wherever the line goes and I don't know. This is a gut feeling, but I think
I'm calling it.
I like
My
the
gut
Colts.
feeling, next ascension of CJ Stroud.
he's
this
gonna ball out.
He's
He's been great. He'll lock up if he wins. I mean, he's already probably locked up Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
But man, a playoff spot in your first year with that team after how bad they were, amazing.
Yeah. I mean, Gardner Minshew, he's leaky too. He's been solid, but
yeah, he can make mistakes for sure. Yeah, for sure. Imagine how the Colts are going to be good with Anthony Richardson, man. A little bit off topic, but when he comes back, they're going to be good. A healthy Taylor and Anthony Richardson.
I mean,
Anthony Richardson is good. He was playing great before he got hurt.
with his
You don't
feet,
seem convinced. What
with
happened?
his feet.
Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're going to be like a solid. He's not going to sling it around the.
The thing is, playing with your feet is great when you're playing in a neutral game script or ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Playing with your feet, if you can't make those plays downfield, it's not going to be great.
Yeah, I
in
think he'll
negative
improve.
game scripts
For
right?
sure, but he'll
So,
improve. He'll improve.
I've traded for him in Madden,
Yeah.
and he's fucking horrible.
So this is where this is coming from.
Yeah.
Now we got to the bottom of
Listen,
it. This is from
listen,
Madden.
If you
Okay.
want to be a true professional in sports betting, in fantasy, you need to play Madden.
You got to play Madden. Yeah. Yeah,
Those
for sure.
ratings come from somewhere, boys.
True.
All right?
Yeah. True.
And
True.
Anthony Richardson is so inaccurate in Madden that it's like
He's gonna get better, bro.
it's gross. So
All right. Gotcha. All right. Let's move faster. All right. Bucks at Panthers. I got Bucks.
Bucks,
Okay. I got the Bengals over the Browns.
same.
I got the Lions over the Vikings. What about you?
I got Vikings.
You got Mullins coming back with a bang.
I got Nick Mullins,
I
baby.
like it. Actually, what I like in that game most is the over. By the way, in that fight, it's like 45.
Yeah.
Bro, last time they played, nobody could stop anybody.
Yeah.
Jets at Pats. I got the Pats winning.
I got the Pats.
I got the Saints beating the Falcons.
the Falcons being the Saints.
All right, so the winner of that game gets a wild card, I believe. So I have the Saints winning. I have the Saints. You have the Falcons in your wild card on your sheet, or no? Or they need help.
They need help.
Okay, so I think they need the Bucks to lose too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I
got
have
it.
the Bucks winning.
So I have the Saints getting in with a win. Jags at Titans.
Jags.
I got the Titans winning that game. We'll talk about that. Seahawks at Cardinals. I like
Cards.
Arizona. Yep. Bears at Packers. I like the Bears.
The Bears.
Chiefs at Chargers. I got Chiefs.
Chiefs.
This game means nothing, but whatever.
Even with Blaine. Even with Blaine.
Broncos at Raiders. I got Raiders.
I got Raiders.
I got the Giants over the Eagles. calling the upset because I called it last week against the Rams, and they should have won. Did you see the 2-point conversion that
Yeah.
Tyrod threw like 3 feet behind Saquon? So I was you guys have no idea. I was preached like unemotional.
Yeah.
I was at my parents' house for
Oh, perfect.
for what was it? It was Christmas or New Year's, whatever it was.
Perfect time to freak out.
I
over
was
football.
furious, bro. I was trying to hide. I was like, oh, because they would have won the game.
Like, what's wrong, Jeff?
Oh my! And then the missed kick on top of it. Anyway, I got the Giants pulling off this week though.
Really?
Yeah, I like the Giants.
I got the Eagles taking care of business.
I like Tyrod. I like them. I got the Niners over the Rams.
I got the Niners.
I got the Cowboys beating Washington, and I got the Bills.
Yep. I got the Cowboys, and I have the Bills.
All right. So we both have, obviously, Baltimore and Sanford have the bye. So this is your first wild card game. Let's start with the AFC. I got Pittsburgh going to Buffalo. Is that what you have as well?
I have Houston.
You got Houston on the bye. Oh, that's right. Okay. So I have the Steelers going in to Buffalo. I've already said this a bunch of times. No one's going into Buffalo and winning. All right.
No.
You know how high I'm on the Bills. Even though they didn't look great last week, but it was a little bit of a, Bailey Zappi is just, they're playing well for some reason.
Yeah.
But so they covered the spread, but the Bills still won.
Yeah.
But I don't think anyone's going into Buffalo. That line's probably going to be, what's that going to be? 8, 7 or 8 for the Bills.
I think either way.
I'm not sure I would lay it, but they're going to win.
Yeah.
They're going to win the game. And you got Houston going to
Got
Buffalo.
Houston.
That's a much more competitive. That's a much more interesting matchup.
It is, but it's also not. It's like you would really have to see another evolution of CJ Stroud for him to.
But their defense is just straight up better than Pittsburgh's, Houston's defense.
It is.
So
it is. But
maybe they
I
get
think
some trouble.
Rookie quarterback on the road in the playoffs
For sure.
in Buffalo.
Tough spot.
Early January. I don't know what the weather's going to be like there.
Yeah.
It gets cold in Buffalo. You got to go
sure.
on the road and beat the Bills. That's a test.
I don't think, listen, like I said, I don't think no matter who got matched up to go in there, I don't think they're winning.
Yeah.
And this is assuming the Bills even get, it's funny because the Bills, we both have them winning the division. But if they lose and the Steelers and Jags win, they're out. So they could still not even make the playoffs. So if Pittsburgh wins and Jacksonville wins, and I believe the Bills are the late game, aren't they? They're the Sunday night game, I think. So if, let's say, the Jags win and the Steelers win, you could go into that game and the Bills know if they lose, they're out. How wild is that? After winning, they look great. I think they're 10-6 now.
Yeah.
That's but I think they're going to win. I think the loss of Bradley Chubb is going to be huge. We were talking about that earlier.
Yeah.
Massive for the Miami defense. So I have Miami as the 6 going to Kansas City. Is that what you have?
I do.
Yeah, thoughts on that one?
I don't think that you can bet against Patrick Mahomes at home in the playoffs.
Despite how bad they've looked.
Yeah.
Their offense has looked so bad, dude.
I know.
I'm with you, by the way. I wouldn't bet against it, but I'm just saying it's like unbelievable how bad.
Yeah.
Like, is Kelsey washed or is he just
could be the scheme.
Banging Taylor Swift too much? Like, what is it?
It's the. I don't know.
Sorry.
Keep it, don't keep it. I don't know. It's first year without Bieniemy, right?
True.
So scheme is a little bit different. Their wide receivers are probably the worst that it's ever been.
Pretty bad, yeah.
But run offenses come alive in the playoffs.
It's true.
And who knows? We may get another hero's journey for Pacheco.
Yeah. Clyde Edwards-Helaire maybe a little bit. Not so much.
I
like Pacheco. He's good.
Oh, Jinx.
Oh, damn.
He reminds me of Marion Barber.
That's not a bad comparison.
He reminds me of a guy who is going to have a solid 4 years in the league because of the way he runs. And Pacheco only runs with high knees.
Yeah, I know.
It's like, it's what they taught us in high school. It's like, you better keep those knees high.
Yeah.
Instead of somebody trying to tackle you low.
Did you see what I can't remember what the Cowboys player, it was a Cowboys player that tweeted about how he runs. Did you see that or no?
No.
They were like, Pacheco runs like he bite people. I forgot who it was. If I find it, I will pull it up on the screen. Pacheco runs like he bite people.
I didn't know that was a Cowboys player. I didn't see that.
Somebody, I think it was one of their defensive players. Somebody tweeted
It's
that.
true. He runs so angry. He runs like he's stomping on the floor.
He does. But yeah, I agree. I think, well, first of all, number one, Miami's had road problems all year long, right? You saw what the Baltimore just did to them, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, let's not gloss over that, by the way. You were right. I said that I had like the Dolphins +3. Turns out I needed like +35 for that. They got destroyed by the Ravens.
Yeah.
And so
I gotta celebrate those.
Yeah. So they have road problems. And then going in there without, like, I understand the Tyreek angle. I know some people were talking about that. Like, going back to his old play. Like, I get it. Yeah, maybe he has a big game, but it's going to be about the defense. And the Kansas City offense, if Patrick Mahomes has time to throw, we'll see what happens. But I would lean. What's that line, by the way? So remember when they played? No, I'm saying, what would you think that line would be?
Oh,
remember when they played
it's not gonna be
they
there.
played in Germany, and it was like Chiefs -1.5. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And it was a neutral.
Yeah.
So was this -3, -3.5? Maybe this game.
It depends how they look.
I would say -3 or 3.5.
Yeah, I
Something
mean,
like that.
if Buffalo, if they get beat up this week,
Yeah.
that line you might get some recency
Oh, for sure.
on
Yeah.
on two bad games
But you
against
know what?
contenders in a row.
But you know what? It was 3.5 in Baltimore, so it might have to be less just based on.
Yeah.
Maybe it's 2.
Yeah, that's interesting. I would take Chiefs there.
Tough. I would take the Chiefs. Yeah, I think Chiefs win that game. All right, then I got the Browns going to Indy. You got a different scenario, I think, right?
I got Browns going into Jacksonville.
Okay, so I think the Browns, no matter who's on the other side, the Browns are going to kill them.
Browns are going to win.
I think the Browns would destroy the Colts. Like, even though I like the Colts to get in,
Just
the Browns will kill them.
absolutely dominate
Yeah,
them.
and if they go to Indy indoors with Flacco indoors, they're going to destroy them. No chance.
The tightest spiral.
No chance.
Now I
No
know
chance.
that. Now I know for a fact that the Jets are a bad organization.
Oh, we know that for a long time.
but
Yeah, yeah.
now I know for a fact.
Yeah,
Because last year we were swapping between Flacco and Wilson and Flacco and White and
Terrible.
Flacco was looking like just super mediocre the entire time. It was like, oh, he's washed.
Yeah.
And he goes to he gets off the couch.
Yeah,
He comes
literally.
out. He leaves the studio
And
basement.
by the way, he wanted to come to the. Did you see that? He was open to coming back when Rodgers got hurt. They were like, "No thanks.
No, we're good.
We got Zach Wilson."
and now he's killing it.
Insane.
He's killing it.
Yeah.
He might.
Amazing.
Is-
Amazing.
Is he in the conversation for the MVP?
No, not Flacco. No,
Why not?
because he's only played like 5 games or something.
He comes off the couch. The Brown season on
Oh, it's Lamar's.
on a lifeline.
I mean, he's been great, but not MVP. Though. You got to play a whole year to be MVP. It was either MVP was going to be Purdy until the Monday Night Massacre happened. Now it's Lamar. Lamar's got it locked up. He's like -1,000 now to win it. Lamar.
Okay, comeback
So-
player of the year.
Yeah, no, I think Flacco's is. I think he's top 3, and they're going to give it to Hamlin though.
That's true. I did see a meme that it was like
They're going to give it to Hamlin.
they were like,
Yeah.
Damar Hamlin survived a heart attack and Joe Flacco survived the Jets.
Yeah. Which one's worse?
So which one's worse? Like which one's more deserving of the comeback
Yeah.
player of the year?
No, they're going to give it to Hamlin, which is fair. He hasn't played much, but it's he literally died, and you can't really say anything about it.
Whatever.
Yeah, but
I don't see him winning a. I don't see him winning a division or winning a wild card
winning a
berth.
playoff game.
I don't know. Maybe I'm tough,
But the Browns, all right, yeah, the Browns are definitely. So you think they'll beat the Jags too if they go in there?
Yeah.
They'll beat the Jags.
dude. What do you?
You know what makes that? You know what will be so interesting? Because the Browns are going to win that game, whoever they play, and then they're going to go to Baltimore in the second round, and they're going to be super dangerous. They beat the Ravens once already this year.
Yeah, with PJ Walker as
Was
quarterback.
it Walker at that? Was it?
I think it was PJ Walker in that
Might
game.
have been.
Because I think you picked the Browns.
No, not in that game.
Oh,
I
not
picked
in
them.
that game?
I picked them the first game when it was DTR and he got killed.
Ah, gotcha.
They lost.
Yeah, yeah.
The second game they went to Baltimore. They were like 6-point dogs.
Yeah.
They won. I think you're right. I think it was either Watson or Walker, but I think it was Walker. I think
Yeah.
you're right. But yeah, they're gonna, bro. That's a divisional game in the divisional round, and they're gonna be a sizable dog. They might even be more than that 6-point dog they were early. They might be 7 or 8-point dog, and they're going to be very dangerous in that game.
Yeah, I agree.
And Baltimore is going to be coming off of a 2-week bye. Listen, I know they want to. I know teams like to lock up the 1 seed. I feel like it never goes well, or
Yeah.
very rarely goes well.
I mean, yeah, there's always something to be said about when you're resting guys.
yeah, rust versus
And-
rest. Yeah.
rust versus rest is always a huge conversation. I think where it's landed now is actually like play your guys unless somebody's hurt or unless there's a lot of risk involved with somebody.
Mm-hmm.
When you rest all your guys, I mean, we've seen it time and time again where
Yeah.
they don't get up for the next game.
That's what I'm saying. So it's kind of a. Anyway, we'll see. But and then you'd actually have Kansas City going to Buffalo, and I got to say goodbye to the Chiefs in that game. I'm sorry. I think you're going to have a Ravens. So on my side, you probably have a Ravens Bills AFC Championship game or a Browns Bills. Bro, I'm just very high on the Bills. I'm sorry. I just am. By the way, I put up on this other screen we have over here. We were going to talk about luck ratings.
Yeah.
27th, Buffalo. Action Network, by the way, for those of you wondering, has a good list of luck ratings that they put out for football season. They're very, I know people are like, oh, how do you measure luck? They explain it on the website. It's very helpful, luck.
Yeah.
It's basically like a percentage that says you should have won X percent more games than you did based on DVOA, like the plays that each play and how that play compares to the average of that play. Right? So if the team broke off a 35-yard run against you, but on average, the way that scheme was, that run would go for like 7 yards. That counts against your luck rating. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That kind of thing. They do it for they measure every play. So the Bills are like 27th. And their offense can get anemic at times, but
They're trying to.
if they win that game against Miami, they're super dangerous because they get 2 home games right off the bat. Second, they get the 2 seed.
In Buffalo.
So 2 home games.
Yeah,
Then they got to go to Baltimore for the last game.
I mean, you're asking Josh Allen to reverse what he's
I
done
know.
in every single playoff.
I know.
And
I know,
and
he can
what
get
they've
risky,
been
yeah.
doing
Yeah.
basically since like the 90s.
Yeah. My thing is, last year, remember how much hype around? Like, they were like, I think at one point they were even the Super Bowl favorite
Yeah.
for the last like 2 or 3 years at some point during the season. But like this year, when they were like 6-6, they were kind of like forgotten about. And that's when I saw my opportunity.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
let me jump in. And now they're the third, by the way, third highest odds to win the Super Bowl. So now the market's kind of like caught up a little bit. So it's like Ravens, 49ers, then Bills. So not Dolphins, not Browns, not Chiefs, Bills. So the market kind of knows the deal.
Well, Josh Allen in the playoffs.
Market
slinging
knows
it?
the deal a little bit. Yeah, if you can avoid turnovers, they're going to be dangerous.
Yeah.
So what's your side? So that's my side. I got Ravens, Bills going to the end. So you have Houston at Buffalo, right?
I do. Yeah. So I guess my AFC championship.
Like your
is-
bracket would be, you have the Chiefs,
Yep.
right? Then you have the Browns going to Buffalo,
Yep.
and then you have the Chiefs. The Chiefs. You have the Browns going to Baltimore. Then you have the Chiefs going to Buffalo.
Yep.
So we have the same thing. Yeah.
I like the Browns.
I had a feel. So then the Browns would have to go to Buffalo for that last game.
Yeah.
That's
I like the Browns. And the reason why I like the Browns is none other than that defense is
Defense is so
obviously
good.
tremendous.
So good.
Right? And a guy like Myles Garrett
yeah,
is
game breaker.
is a game breaker, right? And in the playoffs, that's all you really need.
Yep.
It's just one guy to put the team on its back and be a hero. And then if you get, playoff Joe Flacco, there was not a more accurate
he's
passer.
Very good.
There was not a more efficient player in the playoffs with championship experience. If you look, who in this playoff bracket outside of Patrick Mahomes has any Super Bowl experience?
Great point. He's the one.
He's the only one.
You got Tua, Mason Rudolph,
Right.
Minshew,
Trevor
and then
Lawrence.
you got Lamar, and yeah, exactly.
None of these guys.
Even Lamar, as good as he's been, we haven't seen him do it on the brightest stage. So
Right. It's like, I know, listen, I'm not like on drugs right now, but it's there's something to be said about how Flacco's playing.
Yeah.
Looks very similar to the run that he went on in the playoffs,
yeah,
where for the beginning part of that season, way back, I'm dating myself now, but when Flacco, when Baltimore won the championship, he wasn't amazing.
no,
He got hot
he did.
and he got unstoppable.
He could sling it, man.
at the end of the year.
Yeah.
So when you look at that, I'm seeing a lot of parallels
Yeah.
to that Joe Flacco run.
I agree.
He's going
I
to have
see
to
it.
extend it a little bit more because, he started that in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Now he's starting that kind of like week 13 on.
Yeah.
But it's the right time for that guy to get hot.
But he's going to come in. He's going to come into. They're going to give him a week off, and he hasn't played the whole year, so he hasn't taken the beating all year. He's going to be fresher than most quarterbacks. Listen, yeah, if the Browns go to Baltimore, to me, that's a game they could absolutely win that game. Like, that's not one of those games where it's like a foregone conclusion. No, they can absolutely win that game. That's going to be fascinating. So if you have it Browns, so then you have the Bills staying at home the whole time is going to be a big advantage for them if the Browns go to Buffalo.
Well,
And then we'll see what happens there.
yeah.
I think based like this conversation we just had, every time I look at this, as long as the Bills get in, I think there's value on their future to win the AFC. As long as they get in, right? Obviously, they got to get in.
What?
But
Do
once
you have
they,
a Bills jersey
but
under
once
that?
they, but once they get in,
Under that, is there a Bills jersey?
I'm not even a fan. It's just
Are we gonna do?
You know
are we
how
gonna do
every-
some Bills colored
you guys know
lock
how
and cash merch?
we
Like,
should.
you know,
If they win the AFC.
are we?
But
okay.
but like you know how every year like you find a team that you like, kind of like you maybe you see them as value,
Yeah.
and then you just like peg like
Mm-hmm.
you kind of like you watch them all year and attach yourself to them. When people started writing them off, that's when I started looking at them more closely.
Yeah.
I just kind of like it's weird. Like it was like it's like with UConn in March Madness last year.
Right.
Why would I give them out at plus 2,000? Remember that?
Mhm.
And they end up winning the whole thing. It was because like I just happened to get it. Like I just looked at them and I was just like, then you start to like get attached a little bit.
Yeah.
And you watch all the games and you're like, I don't think people realize.
Yeah, yeah,
that kind
yeah.
of thing. Like, I don't think people realize. And then by the time the market catches up, you got the value. So if the Bills win on Sunday night and they get in, their odds are you're gonna lose a big chunk
Yeah.
of the price. So maybe get it in now. That's all I'm saying. It's a little sprinkle. But based on this, their toughest test would be if they had to go to Baltimore. Otherwise, they stay home the whole time. They're the 2 seed. So the only risk, the only worst case scenario for the Bills is that they go to the Ravens. But if the Browns
Well, they don't on my end.
do a favor,
Yeah.
or they don't make it in, yeah.
Yeah.
If the Browns do them a favor, then they stay home. So I think that's kind of valuable. But
Mm-hmm.
all right, let's hop over to the NFC. So we both have, obviously, the Niners are the 1 seed, so they get to sit out. I've got the Saints winning that game. I know you had the Falcons winning. So I've got the Saints in as my 7 going to Dallas.
You know who I have in on mine?
Is it
The Minnesota Vikings.
no way, really? How's that? So because you have them winning. See, they're one of the teams that have a very small chance of getting in. So you have them
And
in.
on mine, they get in.
That's because they win and you have the Falcons winning, right?
Right.
That's why. You
Yep.
knock the Saints out. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Wow, that's interesting.
You know, I think either way, Dallas wins. That
I think either, yeah. Oh, I agree.
game. Yeah. At home, they've been tremendous.
They have been really good.
You know,
They should have lost that game, though, against Detroit.
but still,
We got a little favor with that because we had the
yeah,
teaser.
got a little.
Yeah, we had the teaser,
I mean,
but
you know,
they should have lost.
You got to call yourself eligible.
Yeah, yeah. Looks like he did. Did you see the replay and stuff?
Yeah, I did. I saw him walk up. I didn't hear
I think they
anything.
got screwed.
I didn't hear anything. Did you?
The funniest part was like apparently there's a universal signal. I didn't even know this for calling yourself eligible, which is like rubbing your hand on your chest. Like you clearly see him do it. I was like, whatever. We got the win. So
I didn't hear anything.
I saw that there was I saw on Twitter or X that there was like billboards. A couple people put billboards up in Detroit. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Where it was like 10-5 or whatever, but or 10-6. They cross it out and put 11-5.
Yeah.
And it's like Decker reported.
You know,
Funny, crazy.
Getting one of
Insane.
these- getting one of these going. No, listen. The
But yeah, I
NFL
think
the
you're right,
NFL put
though.
out. You got to clearly. They
Yeah.
put out a basically a warning to all the teams. They're like,
Yeah.
please clearly
Yeah.
signal to our refs in case you get a dumb one who doesn't know
Yep.
the universal sign.
But
But
refs are always a problem. The refs have been a problem forever. What are you gonna do? It's a part of the game.
I mean, listen. That's why Roger Goodell calls us
That's why. That's why he does.
every week.
Yeah, that's
You know,
right.
shout out to Roger. Go on TikTok if you want to see some of
That's
those.
right. That's right.
You know, so yeah. But I think no matter what, Dallas wins that game.
Yeah, definitely.
Whether it's Minnesota, whether it's the Saints,
What's that line? That's going to be a hefty line.
it is.
This it might even be bigger for the Vikings. It might be a bigger line for the
Oh
Vikings.
yeah. I mean,
And
you
the
have like
Saints.
Nick Mullins walking in. It's like
That's like nine. I would say 9.5 over New Orleans minus 9.5.
yeah.
That's what I would say. I would guess, and it might be double digits for the Vikings.
I was gonna say it's like
Yeah.
minus 13 or something.
Yeah, 12. Yeah, it might be. All right. So yeah, I got the Cowboys moving on too. I agree.
Yep.
And then we got so my 6th seed is the Rams
Same.
going to Detroit.
Yep.
Yeah, I think you already know what I'm about to say.
That the
I
Rams.
think I would like the Rams in that game. What's that going to be? What do you think? That's kind of a tricky one
-6
for the Lions. I was going to say 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, 5 or 6. I think it's right.
Yeah.
And I think it would get bet if it opened at 6. It would get bet down. I think.
Yep. Yep.
I like
like the Rams
I
in
like
that?
the Rams. Stafford against his old team, and I know that's Goff against his old team too.
Yeah. I was like,
But-
hey, man, it's
but Stafford's so much better than Goff.
he is.
He's much better than Goff.
He is, and that if they have a healthy wide
Yeah.
receiver core in there, that's a problem. Kyron Williams has been on
Dude,
fire.
Kyron
By the
Williams,
way,
Cup and
I don't
Puka.
know if this is real, but Sean McVay said that Kyron Williams is on his fantasy team.
Is that true? Did he say that?
Yeah,
That sounds like conflict of interest or something like that.
Yeah.
What is that? That's
but
something.
it's legal.
Is it?
It's legal to play fantasy football as a coach or a player. So Sean McVay had Kyron Williams on his fantasy team.
What if you're
and he
playing
gets multiple touchdowns a game?
What if you're playing someone who is on your team? Like, what if you're playing the opposing running back is on your team? Are you telling the defense to let him score because you need to win?
Yeah. I would.
NFL, you got some bro. As this grows, yeah, I would. Like I would too. As NFL, as gambling and fantasy gets bigger and bigger, they eventually. I guarantee there will eventually be a scandal of some kind with fantasy football.
Yeah,
where it's like this guy had whatever on his team.
he had won $1 million.
He had the opposing defense, so he fumbled the ball.
Right? Yeah, right. Listen,
something like that.
Listen, Nick, I'm gonna
crazy.
I'm gonna need you to throw that pick six.
Literally.
Just make it look right.
Yeah, exactly.
The Cowboys have like 8 pick sixes on the year, so it's like
stuff's going. Yeah, that's right. Stuff's going on. I'm telling you.
Yeah,
it's not out yet. It's going to come out. Stuff's going on.
Kyron Williams. Yeah. So I don't know. I think they're gonna. I think that's gonna be a better game than people think. I think obviously the Lions defense not fantastic, and the that Rams offense is.
That's what I'm saying. I think if it's a shootout. Give me the Rams if it ends up being a shootout, which it could be. It's going to be an indoors game. Stafford's going to have a week of rest, a healthy Kupp, a healthy Puka, a healthy Kyron Williams. They're dangerous, dude. The defense isn't great, but they're going to have, again, some rest.
Yeah.
They're going to come into that game dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Okay.
And I think if they, let's say if they beat the Lions, maybe they're out the next round. But they're going to, in that first game, they're going to be dangerous.
All right. For posterity, we'll go with...
I would go Rams.
I'm going to go Rams.
You're going to go Rams too? Okay,
yeah.
Cool. So then we have the 5 seed Philly going to Tampa, which is unfortunate for the Eagles. Not that they can't beat Tampa, but after the they were 10-1, now they got to be the 5 seed. Brutal for the Eagles. I feel for the Eagles, but I don't know. The defense has been atrocious lately.
Yeah.
And what's that line? What do you think?
That line is going to be
Philly minus. They were -3 at Seattle. Remember that game Monday night?
Yeah.
I think that's probably the same.
You think it'd
They're
be
probably
-3?
a field goal favorite over the Bucs.
I think it really depends on how they do this week.
Good point. Yeah.
I think it can get that line can get very close if
Tyrod dices them up again.
Yeah, if they don't look good against the Giants, it's crazy to say, but the difference between the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Giants now,
it's not that bad.
The way that they're playing, the gap isn't that wide.
No, it's not crazy to say.
So
at all, the Giants have had major quarterback issues and injuries.
Yeah,
they're not this bad of a team,
right?
Or as bad as you've seen, yeah, for sure.
So,
I would say that line is -3.5 for Philly, maybe 3, and it's hard, dude. So here's the thing: how many of these? We just talked about all these matchups. That's the only game where you're going to have a playoff home dog,
right?
You rarely have home dogs in the playoffs because home field is exacerbated in the playoffs.
I know.
It means a little bit more.
Yeah, and you're usually like a clear divisional favorite, unless you're the NFC South,
right?
Which
exactly.
You just get a bunch of garbage.
And but the other thing too is on top of having that home dog, it's not like you're a home dog against a team that takes care of business on the road. The Eagles don't take care of business on the road.
Right.
They haven't been doing that all year. They're susceptible a little bit on the road. So I could see that being, it's going to be, the Eagles probably squeeze it out, but it's going to be hard to pass up a home dog getting a field goal in a playoff game.
Yeah.
That's all I'll say about that.
Yeah.
It'll be hard to pass them up. Woo-wee. So I'm not saying they're going to win, but I don't think it's going to be an easy, you're not going to walk into Tampa and get an easy win.
Yeah.
Maybe a team like the Lions would, but no, I don't think the Eagles would. Eagles on
Baker May?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, bro. The Baker, he's got you got to think about those guys or those teams that get written off. Imagine what kind of motivation he's playing with, what kind of chip on his shoulder he's got.
First of all,
someone's been left for dead.
In what bizarro world are we going to be in if I'm watching a playoff game of the Buccaneers versus the Rams?
Yeah, no, right? And it's Stafford versus Baker.
Like, what? What are we doing here?
It's wild. Yeah, wild.
It's like,
and again, Tampa would stay home for that game if the Rams get by.
They would be, these teams, a lot of these teams were either written off or sort of left for dead.
Yeah.
But as we can see over there,
Yeah.
Rams, one of the most unluckiest teams in the NFL.
Yeah, exactly.
Bucks,
On the luck, yep.
one of the luckiest
Top
teams.
Top four of the Bucks. Yep.
So
Yeah, the top four were Pittsburgh, Indy, Tampa, and Detroit, and they're all in the playoffs. The top
Yeah.
four that's when the luck starts to swing, is when you get to these big moments.
but let's be clear. I can throw this out. It's going to be the 49ers.
It's going to be the Niners.
It's gonna be
I
it's gonna be
totally
Niners.
agree. It's going to be the Niners in the NFC.
Yeah.
Yeah. And by the way, whoever's watching, whatever, you're going to hear them talk about how the Ravens beat. Don't fall for this now suddenly they're not good.
Yeah.
They are going to beat whoever goes.
They're gonna
into
beat
They're
whoever.
going to beat whoever they face. Yeah.
They're
yeah.
and
We're just talking. These other matchups are going to be super fun and interesting.
my Super Bowl
But they're gonna win.
is going to be Joseph H. Flacco
You got okay.
versus Brock Purdy
Yeah.
in the Super Bowl, and it's going to be
If Joe Flacco won a Super Bowl,
wild old grizzly Joey
Dude.
Flacco,
if he won a Super Bowl for the Browns, oh my god,
greatest of all time.
he's getting a statue. He's getting a statue outside
Greatest,
Cleveland.
greatest of all time.
Might be.
You know? Yeah. He comes back next
Bro.
year, gets one for the Jets.
He'll get a.
Let's go.
If he gets one for the Jets, I mean, yeah, forget it. I'll put a statue of him outside my house right here. So
I might do it anyway.
just for no reason.
It's just for no reason. I got Joe Flacco versus the 49ers.
I could see that. I would go. Well, I think the Niners are going to make it, and I think they're going to play the Bills. That's my thing.
Of course
So,
they're going to play the Bills.
That's
in your
what I
thing.
think personally.
I don't think so.
Browns Niners is that's an interesting. Oh, by the way, I wanted to say something about these playoff games. Remember a couple weeks ago we were talking about over-unders and how the books, like this week,
Adjusted.
yeah, Jets Patriots is a 30 on the board, right? And that's maybe because of a little bit of weather, but there's a bunch of 30s. Now I'm going to tell you to throw out what I said, because you got to always change. You got everything that moves quick in the betting markets. Playoffs are where you go back to the unders, right? So there's always year after year, you can literally graph this out on a graph. If you look at totals as the season goes on, it's like unders in the beginning of the season, and then the books start to lower the totals a little bit because they're hitting at too high of a rate. This is over the last 3-4 years. It's a thing you can watch happen over and over. Then the over starts to hit towards the back end of the year, weeks 13, which you've been seeing now, through the end, and then we get to the playoffs and everything slows back down again. The teams are going to be extra careful. Teams are going to be extra conservative, super scared to make turnovers in the playoffs. One turnover in the playoffs could ruin your whole season. It's one and done. So even though you're going to see low totals, don't be afraid to take unders in these playoff games. A game like, Browns, if it ends up being Browns-Ravens, divisional playoff game, what's that going to be, 42? Under, you're going to see 17-14 games, 20-17 games.
Yeah.
So
Don't
be wary
afraid
of that.
to bet the unders.
Yeah, just be wary of that. So,
Cowboys Lions. Don't be afraid to bet the unders.
yeah, that game went under. So, but one thing I wanted to say though, so if the Eagles beat the Bucks, right? They're the 5, the 4. If they beat the Bucks, and then they have to go to San Francisco, correct? Am I right on that? That's how this matches up, right? The one gets the 5-4 matchup. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they got to go to San Francisco, and that's over. It's a wrap. And then the winner of, if it's Rams Cowboys. So you could have a scenario. Now, we both agree the Niners are much better than everyone else, but you could have a tough scenario for them where they have to welcome in the Eagles and then the Cowboys. I'm not saying that either of them are going to beat them, but it's not exactly
Yeah.
That's
a good game.
Not going to be crazy. Yeah, those are two tough teams.
Yeah,
and they're going to throw out everything at you.
But it's going to be the 49ers.
And I think if you, I agree. But if you had one team out of this whole list that goes to San Francisco, who would you be the most scared of?
I mean, if Philadelphia gets it together,
Yeah,
I think they have the highest ceiling. Just because they've been there before, just because it's the same personnel as
Makes
last
sense.
year. But I don't think they're going to get it together. They
Yeah.
looked like shit the entire time. I would say it's Dallas.
I think it's either So that's good.
And they
I
got
was
a
gonna-
revenge spot.
Exactly. Or, man, dude, the winner of that Detroit LA game. Detroit looked great when they went to Dallas. They looked really good.
Mm-hmm.
they could be dangerous too. But the Rams going to San Francisco, I think, would be a fascinating game because it's a divisional game. I think that's why that one jumps out at me.
It does, but they just have to do a lot
I know,
to get there.
but I'm just like in love with that offense.
Yeah.
That offense is beautiful when they're all healthy.
I mean, listen,
It's beautiful.
That trip set that they run with
So good.
with the Rubs and Puka
Yeah.
and Cup, it's beautiful to watch.
Yeah, it's so good.
You know?
and they were scoring 30 like every game until they went to the Giants. It was a bad spot. They won the game. We had the Giants +6, but it was a bad spot for them.
Yeah.
But still, their offense they got a good offense.
They
And
do.
teams that can sling it like that with a Super Bowl winning quarterback, they're dangerous. Like we just talked about how Flacco's the only guy that's won a Super Bowl on the other side. On this side, it's just Stafford. So, that experience comes in handy this time of year. That's all.
If I get
all I'm saying.
if I get a Stafford Flacco Super
Could you
Bowl,
imagine?
one of the lowest rated Super Bowl, maybe not. Maybe people want to see if the Browns
The
make
Browns
it.
would be favored in that game.
Yeah. I think if you put the Browns in, they're not the sexiest team in the world,
Yeah.
but you have the novelty of like, oh my God, the Browns are in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you get some novelty
people
there.
will watch.
Yeah, people
Yeah,
will
yeah.
watch
Yeah,
that. But Joe Flacco is not,
No.
he has maybe one of the weirdest beards in the
all the way
NFL.
down.
It's all the way down here. It connects to the chest.
What do
almost.
you think? To the chest there.
It's just a flying V all the way down to. I imagine
Yeah.
in the locker room, it's just going down into that.
Yeah. Makes sense. Oh man. So,
So-
what's that? I love talking about hypothetical lines. What's that? Browns -2 at the Rams? No, more than that. They'll be a bigger favorite.
Yeah.
3.5 maybe. Yeah, because last year, what was it? It was a pick between the Chiefs and the Eagles. The year before that, the Rams were -4 against the Bengals.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it would be like Browns -3.5. Something like that.
Well,
So we'll see.
welcome to the fucking most disappointing Super Bowl that you've ever.
But I think it's going to be Bills, Niners. Niners are going to be like a 4 or 4.5 point favorite,
That
right?
That's sexier.
Maybe 5.
That's
Definitely
that's more
that's a
fun.
great game.
Yeah, the Browns.
That's a great
Browns
game.
Rams championship game is like
But Browns Niners is a great. Those defenses.
Yeah.
He's going to finish 3 to 6.
Brock Purdy's gonna have fucking 6 interceptions. Joe Flacco's gonna be
Oh man,
10 for 22.
dude. Yeah, but this is like a fascinating time of year because you get to just. So now we did this right for this week. We went through all these scenarios. Next week we'll have all this set and we can give out official playoff picks on the show next week. So make sure you tune into that. Subscribe. I got nothing else. You got anything else?
I'm good to go.
Yeah, this is a weird weekend. So just disclaimer out there: be careful when you're betting Week 18. Be careful. Watch the motivation. The teams that have to win. This is like a classic week where I just might reduce volume. Subs might get like 3 plays, and that's it. Like none of the 6-7 play cards. Even though we've been doing well, I've had I can't complain. Up 19 units on the NFL season this year, so cannot complain. But this will probably be a week where it's like three plays, all 1 unit.
Yep.
Have some action, enjoy yourself, but don't go crazy. But get those bankrolls ready for next week, because next week's going to be a lot of fun. Because with the way these, like I lined up my scenarios and you lined up your scenarios, but there's some other scenarios. Like if we're wrong, I've been looking at them. There's some other scenarios that would be hammer spots.
Yeah.
If we got them.
Oh, yeah.
So I've got my eyes. I'm not going to say what they are, but I got my eyes on some spots that if we got them,
If that gets locked in,
we'd be ready to unload. Yes.
Ooh-wee.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
All right,
All right,
y'all.
man. Thanks, guys, for watching. Appreciate it. Catch you next week. Peace.